Alright guys, TechCribber here back again today, and there's a lot of interesting things to talk about today. Some news that's come out over the last few days, and also the very interesting announcement for when the reveal is going to be for the multiplayer reveal, basically, on August the 1st. It's going to be for Call of Duty Modern Warfare. This year's game comes out on October the 25th. Also, crucially to mention, the thing that I wanted to title this video about and talk about really is the CDL introducing home and away games immediately, or at least home games, which I guess means away games as well as a natural consequence, immediately for the start of the CDL next year, and some more hints that open events are going to be very few and far between, and I'll probably do another piece of content over the next week or so talking about open events and how that might affect us, because obviously we really don't know too much right now about what the CDL, it's the Call of Duty League, what the CWL is going to become next year as far as we can understand it, and it's a very interesting time. So as always, I'm sure you guys will leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoy, subscribe if you are new as always, and I just thought a couple of interesting bits of news, mainly out of the European community, but some interesting stuff more globally here, because Daryl, you guys may know this name, pretty well known player in the European community, has been around a little bit, and you know, he says he's going to be effectively retiring from Call of Duty, but he's going to be helping the Elevate guys prepare for the COD champs as an analyst and a coach. So that's a very interesting turn of events. I think a lot of guys in the European scene are, and you know, not necessarily European, but more generally globally, older players who haven't had too much success, not like Drill's particularly old, but you know, he's been around a few years, he's not cracked out like the young kids are. Moving into an analyst role, especially with franchising around the corner, I think is a very intelligent move for some of these guys, because come next year, when teams, well, at least for the first couple of years, obviously I talked a while ago if the whole league is going to crash or whatever, but you know, assuming we get kind of like an Overwatch League of Legends style thing where teams have a coach, they have an analyst, they might even have, you know, two different analysts to focus on different things, like, you know, nutritionists, psychologists. Like if it goes down this incredibly professional route, then there's going to be a big space for analysts and the like to get big cash money dollar, and I think, you know, EasyMac might have a great chance to do that on FaZe Clan if they manage to secure a spot for next year, and Daryl and other people in a similar position are also going down the same route, and I think it's an intelligent one to go down. So yes, Shawnee says as well, me, Bounce Quicker, Nasty and Emigrant Train, of course, the winners of the open bracket, looking for an organisation to represent for champs, so will be exciting hopefully to see someone get picked up there, and the same here for Rated, so units are looking for a team, and that would be very nice to see, because these guys have had a very tough year. Hopefully they can get a decent result at champs and at least get paid a little bit for their endeavours, let's put it that way. Now, Lion Man came out with his stats here for, well, it's not necessarily his stats, but he's put together the player cards for the CDL Miami event. I just thought I'd bring this out to you guys because we were talking about OpTic Gaming a few days ago now, and, you know, I thought you guys would find this interesting. The stats, especially in Search and Destroy, not looking pretty for the boys, and, yeah, well, of course, they didn't win a single map at this tournament. We talked about exactly why that's an issue. Morks had an interesting opinion that he talked about on stream, I think, yesterday, where he said something along the lines of, you know, these guys just ego challenge too much, their teamwork isn't there. I see that especially in Search and Destroy, but also in the respawns as well. Like in Search, the teamwork and the cohesion of the squad is just nowhere to be found, and I find that strange for players that have, you know, they've played with each other and together for a very, very long time. So to be in a position where it feels like their teamwork is what's letting them down is honestly surprising, and well, you know, we'll just have to see going forward how they can bounce back for champs, but I'm not holding out too much hope, to be honest. If I was an OpTic fan right now, that would be my perspective. So let's have a look at this then. Breaking, this came out yesterday, new multiplayer video teaser. I thought you guys would like the look of this. So here we go. New Twitter actually, thankfully, runs these quite nicely even while I'm recording. So we can see this in, you know, decent quality. And you can see here, we're flying into the map right now on a helicopter before the game starts. Honestly, this does look gorgeous. It's not a feature that I'm like, you know, jumping for joy about. But, you know, we'll have a close look at this map in just a second there. And as you can see, multiplayer gameplay premiere, August the 1st, 10 AM Pacific time, so you know, that's 1 PM Eastern time, 6 PM British summer time. So yeah, honestly, fantastic stuff, and looking very much forward to that. So that should be a good thing to talk about as well over the coming days when that does come out as well. And the Gaming Revolution here, who's done a lot of leaks about this game, says on some maps and modes you arrive on a truck. So as Charlie Intel says, there's other entrance styles apart from this one. And let's have a look at this image in a bit more detail. So some people were suggesting this looks like freight from Call of Duty Ghosts, which it was made by the same developers, so it's possible. At least there are similarities here. I mean, obviously there are freight trains and, you know, coal in like, you know, these trucks are with, or these like whatever the hell these container things are called that we've seen back in Freight. But to me, it doesn't really look like Freight. Like, let's have a look at these. Okay, so the tracks, what are we expecting to see on either sides of the tracks? We're not used to seeing open spaces like this. So I don't think it's a remake of Freight or anything, but I really like maps with these kind of constructions, in my opinion. I think it's a really cool, you know, idea for a map, and you know, it's honestly pretty damn cool. I like the look of this game so far. I'm pretty excited for it. I try and keep, you know, not keep my hopes too high nowadays after some disappointments, I guess, over the last couple of years. But, you know, I'm kind of quietly optimistic and quietly hopeful. And we also have this clip as well, so we'll just go out to the beginning on this one. Oh, don't want the sound to be on. Loadouts locked, gear up for the Modern Warfare gameplay reveal, premiere, whatever the hell, on August the 1st. So I just thought I'd play this video for you guys where you can see it real quick. So we can see some customization of weapons. This is what Exclusive Ace was talking about in the video, how you can change weapons very, very significantly with adding attachments and changing things around. So, you know, you can change, I think the AUG, or I forget exactly what weapon it is. I think it's an AUG. It's an SMG, but you can, you know, add attachments that will very quickly make it into kind of a more assault rifle that we're used to seeing. So, you know, I'm sure we'll see a lot of these things when the reveal does happen, but, you know, we're not going to see anything incredibly impactful for competitive, let's put it that way. And we have the following as well. So CDL, Intel, and a lot of other people who are going to be going out to this reveal event. It's going to be, of course, in Los Angeles, California. You know, all access needs a double C there, boys. So not particularly happy with that one. And yeah, so, you know, pretty interesting. They got something they could like scan it, a QR code or something, and then they got into like the restricted files. There was also this image that came out as well. You know, we got some weapons here. The M13 is a primary. Looks like it's got some sort of scope on it. Maybe that's like some sort of marksman rifle thing going on here. Looks kind of like a SWAT 5.56 from Black Ops 2 with the stock at the back, but then the longer scope implies maybe like a single shot 3-round burst kind of weapon. So I don't know, don't want to get into too much detail, not really what I talk about on this channel. And you know, we have Raid up here, which is supposedly the name of this map. Of course, it's clearly, as far as we can tell, not the Raid from Black Ops 2. Like, if you look the way it's organized, it looks more like Standoff, if anything, with the square here. You know, this is clearly not Raid, but you know, apparently they're calling a map Raid. But as I say, things can all change. Okay, so let's get into this announcement here. So I'll link this article down below. A lot of news stories and news organizations have covered this one, because this is a pretty big deal for next year's Call of Duty League, Call of Duty Franchise League, whatever you want to call it. And you know, things are going to change a lot over the next year. There's been talk of that we won't have open events at all. Maybe we won't have as many open events. Maybe there'll be some alternative to open events, which in my opinion is not going to be a good idea, because in my opinion, the heart and soul of Call of Duty is the open events. The league pales in comparison. And I think when you look at Counter-Strike, which is another one of the esports that I watch, I don't really watch many apart from Call of Duty and Counter-Strike and maybe a few other things here or there, but that game is not done in a franchise system. That's done in a more traditional way where effectively, you know, any organization can put together a tournament. There's tournaments going on every weekend, every month pretty much, and you know, there's no restriction. It's not just the league itself puts on the events, and leagues really are not much of a thing in Counter-Strike. Yes, you do have some leagues like the ECS and other leagues like that, but really it's just about events, and I think that's what people like. And an interesting point that Infinity made, Brody, European caster, he said that like, the league is inevitably going to be dull if there is a playoffs at the end. If it's like the Premier League of football, soccer, whatever you guys want to call it, if it's like that and you don't have a playoffs, then the matches kind of are more meaningful, because it's like who's going to get first over the course of a league. Whereas if there's playoffs, some teams have already qualified, some teams haven't. You inevitably get matches that are meaningless. You don't get that at events, and you know, I think that's not the way to go. But we will have to see how it goes, and hopefully Call of Duty people will still be interested in it, because otherwise I might not have much to talk about here on this channel. So I'm hoping it doesn't go completely down the pan. But yeah, here we go. Let's actually get into the article here. Activision Blizzard Esports this afternoon will announce. Now, I tried to look on their Twitter to see if they actually did announce this, which I struggled to find. But, well, you know, I'm just going to take this as gospel. That next year's inaugural season of the new Call of Duty League will immediately start with a home-away format for events. Now, this is for events. I'm thinking, is this for the league? Is this... Okay, let's go on to it. The video game publisher is launching a new city-based Call of Duty League next year, and is also now in the second year of running the similarly geo-located Overwatch League. But while the Overwatch League is only transitioning to running its regular home-away format next season, after mainly playing at Activision California studio for the first 2 years, the announcement today will reveal that the new Call of Duty League will start playing home matches right away. So they're pretty much pairing things up here. We had earlier this year, you guys may remember, there was an Overwatch League game. I think it was the Dallas Fuel, which is Envy's thing. They had a home game there. Anyway, let's just go on through this article before we go into it in more detail. So, Activision, which is doubling down on the city-based model with a new league, chose to wait until so I guess the 2020 season, to start playing regular home-away matches. Apparently, the league is going to start up in February, which gives us a long time with probably not much happening at all, which I don't know how I'm going to keep daily uploads going, boys, let's put it that way. This is in contrast to Riot Games' League of Legends series, which does not follow a city-based approach. Activision will transition the new league next year from its current model, which is called the Call of Duty World League Pro League, and which takes place at the MLG Arena in Columbus. So if you guys aren't aware of what they're doing right now, all the games are played in Columbus. What they're thinking of doing is, okay, we're going to have geolocated teams, which I don't really like the sound of in the first place, and then we're going to have them travel to and from their own things like a traditional sports league would do. Okay, fine, I guess. New Call of Duty Esports Commissioner Joanna Ferry said, "We're thrilled, etc, etc. 7 teams signed in. These are the 7. Paris is something I want to go on to in just a second here. A source familiar with the league says there's going to be at 12 cities. So, yeah, that's the story real quick. What do you guys think about this whole home and away thing? Because, you know, obviously, getting all these players and teams on a flight, and their analysts and their coaches and all of these people flying around the country, cross-country, you're telling me you're going to fly these teams out to Paris? Surely there's no way. Like, the system right now where you have the league taking place at a centralized location and everyone comes there and it's not the biggest deal, events dominate, is, in my opinion, a great system to have. I really enjoy the way that Call of Duty is run and has been run in the past. And, you know, this year, not so much. There hasn't been as many events. But, you know, in theory, I think that's the ideal system. Focusing much more around a league and having teams fly out to elsewhere to play league matches is honestly just insane to me. Like, how are these teams going to make a return on investment? I don't know if they're going to do it over a weekend thing where maybe you just fly, like everyone comes to one team's place and then they play a weekend of home matches against all the other teams. Maybe they'll do it like that. That seems to make much more sense logistically. Whether they're going to do that over to Paris as well is, I guess, something that they have to do, given that Paris is in the league. Maybe London will be in the league as well. You can't really just exclude Paris on the basis it's too far away. If you're going to do a home and away thing, you have to do it something to do with Paris, surely. But yeah, be interested to hear your thoughts on this down in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new, as I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you next time.
Time's nearly up. Finish strong. Enemies are contesting A. Enemies are contesting A. Last man standing. Know what to do. 1 tango left. Take him out. We've taken control. Another day, another dollar.